Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. This new podcast I keep talking about, I want to be honest, moderately close to canning the whole idea, primarily because of Facebook. I log onto Facebook less and less. In fact, I'm now in a stage where I'm just trying to avoid Facebook, primarily because I see people that I have some degree of respect for backing politicians, primarily Hillary Clinton, and I just can't understand how these people don't appreciate the nuances of a political spectrum. For the first time in my living memory, probably since the 1950s, the Democratic Party is further to the right than the Republican Party. I predicted that this might happen. In fact, I almost joked about it. As Obama opposed Romney, they were so close together politically, particularly in the left and right spectrum. They were within a 20th of each other in the political compass. So close. And I projected that the Democrats would move to the authoritarian right. They've dropped down a little bit in terms of the authoritarian part, but they've certainly moved much further to the right under Clinton, making them the right-wing party of choice in the US. Of choice? Well, making them the more right-wing party in the US. The more corporately funded, the more removed from things like the living wage and various things that actually protect workers. It's such a curious phenomena that for the first time in my living memory, probably the first time since the 1950s, the Democrats are actually a party of fascists, more so than ever before. And what you have here is a group of people who've probably been calling themselves Democrats since the 80s, who've completely lost any particular political perspective and just want to be Democrats because they're not Trump. And they post all this stuff associated with how they have to stand behind Hillary because if they don't, Trump gets in. Now, to be fair, Trump is extremely authoritarian, considerably more authoritarian than Hillary Clinton, but in the left-right spectrum, he is to the left of Hillary Clinton. He's to the left associated with a wide variety of his business perspectives, and when talking to some people related to me, let's just say, by blood, the point has come up that Trump is a racist. Well, compared to Hillary Clinton, whose husband created a large part of the prison industrial complex, and also who has profited heavily from the prison industrial complex, Trump says a few things. He's a buffoon. But the prison industrial complex has literally robbed more than 2 million men of their livelihoods in this country. It is a phenomena which is so far removed from talking about building a wall that I just think the perspective is lost here associated with what the Clintons are about fundamentally. And actually, I'm relatively well read associated with Hillary Clinton, and it's difficult to find anything in a positive light. The stuff that was written in the DNC emails that were released through WikiLeaks, not really a surprise, but just really disgusting. This is a party in its upper echelons of ignorant racists who just want to propagate the kind of information that I think should disgust any thinking human being. In this light, I can't see why anyone of conscience would continue to be a Democrat. It strikes me that this party is morally bankrupt, and people need to gather together to form a new party, or just start doing what I'm doing, and talk actively about the next political system that has to occur. In this light, I will be starting the new podcast relatively shortly, but please bear in mind that I have a certain amount of distress, to a lesser extent duress, associated with doing this podcast at this time, and it's actually quite difficult to record an intro based on what I'm seeing currently. There's too much emotional impact that I feel associated with the politics in this country, and what I'm seeing is a potential market for this podcast is so completely politically and socially ignorant that I almost feel like I need to rebuild from the ground up a series of definitions that will wander towards quite comfortably what I want to talk about with this new podcast. Or maybe I just need to accept that my listeners, my participants, the folks that have already gotten involved in my other podcasts, probably aren't an exact demographic overlap to the folks that I want in this new podcast. But it concerns me nonetheless. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.